We are recording, and I'll go on mute as well and turn the floor
Okay.
over to you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I am Lady Diana from Moonshadow. I'm going to paste a link into the chat. This is a PDF that has the names of websites, what they're for, and the URL in a PDF form. It's actually, I have something within my Google Drive for the chronicler position called the Chronicler's Toolbox. And so it was something that I created whenever I started thinking about stepping down and how I changed things so much. And I wanted the new person to be able to just step right into my shoes without having to wonder what the heck was going on or how I did anything. And so it's something that I keep. I actually think it's a really good idea just so that the person that's coming after you kind of has all their ducks in a row. And of course, on my actual spreadsheet in Google Docs, I have the usernames and passwords because they're not mine. They're based on our chronicler email address. And so, of course, I didn't include those in the PDF. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to share. Okay, so feel free to butt in with questions. You don't have to wait till the end or anything because I'm just going to ramble. So this all started me creating these digital newsletters actually right before the pandemic. I did not know we were going to be in a pandemic. I was just thinking about the fact that I was going into my second year as chronicler and that the way I was doing things was not cohesive with it wasn't very user friendly. I was creating them in Adobe InDesign. I was tweaking every little thing each month. And that was something that I knew, but I realized that in order to get someone to follow my footsteps, they would have to know and have access to Adobe InDesign, which doesn't always happen. And so I started thinking really hard about the fact that I wanted it to be something that anybody could use, as long as they had some type of computer. I wanted them to be able to use it. And then also, we try hard not to use the little budget that the chronicler has. And so I wanted to do something that was completely free if I could make that happen. Printing was a big issue. We had printed newsletters at our populist meetings, and people tended to like them. But the problem is that you had to depend on someone who had like a job or something that didn't mind them printing using their paper and printer, or you would have to pay for it out of pocket with your own printer and paper, because getting it printed at FedEx and places like that, it's extremely expensive. So I took a poll of our populace. They seemed to be on board with a digital newsletter as long as it wasn't in a link or behind a paywall. They wanted it in the email so that they didn't have to go anywhere else to access it. And so I started looking around and I found this website called Sendinblue. And the great thing about it is that it is free as long as you want to send less than 500 emails in a day. So it's perfect for us. We definitely don't have 500 people that we need to send this to. And so it was something I signed up for and I played around with, and it actually wound up being really easy. So what I have up right now is the template. And I'll go through like how you get to this point, but I wanted to make sure that you could at least see the tools and how they work. This is actually what our newsletter is based off of. This is a template for like a coffee place or something. But what's great about it is it has all these little pieces that you can just drag and drop and change. So like I clicked on this and it took me to my image gallery, and this is where I have uploaded images to use in my own newsletter. Trying to look if I could see what I had up here. But so you could change this. So I can literally drag, this is Moonshadows. I can take it, drag it and drop it there. And then all of a sudden it has our image up there. I changed these little links and stuff. Everything is really drop and drag and really easy to do. And then you have all these little pieces. You can change this text, or you can take this out entirely. You can move it around. You can edit it, or you can just delete it. You can change out images like I showed you before. So this is it. And every little piece is able to go in and type, go in and change. And they do have like some basic-y things that you can use, or you can just import stuff that you've already had by going to add an image. Actually, do I have it up? Oh, this is Canva. Okay, so I'll show you one of our newsletters. So the other nice thing is that it keeps track of each campaign that you've done. So I have one for every month and how many people have opened it. So you know how much interaction that you get with your newsletter. Let me go into one. I had some of these preloaded because this website was being really slow. It's not normally slow, but something about today. So while we're waiting for it to load, I can show you. You're here on campaigns. You have a dashboard that kind of shows you like all the little things you have going on. Under email is when you can see the emails that you've sent, drafts that you haven't sent, scheduled things. You can schedule stuff. So if you want to make it in advance and schedule it to go out at a certain day at a different time, that you can. Okay, here we are. So for this one, it shows me how many in my different contact lists that have opened it. So you get a lot of information that way. I was trying to look to see. I think I clicked the wrong thing. I wanted to actually show you our newsletter. Let's go back to there. Well, goodness, I'll go into templates. Okay, so this is the one that was the example I just showed you. So this is ours. So this is a preview of what the email looks like whenever people open it up. And I've set this template, so I just reuse this template every month. And then we can go in and edit the email content. And so this is how I have it set up. I actually have we can edit this all we want because I do under the inactive list, I have a master file of this that isn't to be touched. That way, if I play around with it, I screw something up, I always have that master file kind of in the background that I can pull up if I need to. So this is how I have it set up. I have places to enter certain things, like I change the issue date every month. I put what month it is. But you can see how it was kind of based on this coffee one. Because here was the coffee one, and then here's mine. So I've got my name, I've got my little links and my images. I put the issue here. I always put an image here. And then here's where I write a little article. Then I have our calendars. I have Ancior's calendar and Moonshadow's calendar for the current month and the future month. That was something that was requested by our populace to have a month forward so they know what's going on in advance. I have our standard scheduled meetings that happen every week, though of course it says all canceled or virtual right now. Then I have my officer reports. I found these little images for each of the officers on, where do I have that? So this was my chronicler toolbox. I found this from some place called Turn Skyward. It's a guy who's in the SCA from another kingdom. He's really cool, and he released these for everyone to use. So there's a link to those if you ever want to use those badges. But I have our officers and their email addresses. I have little symbols, and then I have a place for their report. So I have a report from each of our officers. I have reports for our guilds. I'll show you these a little later. These images that I created in a place called Canva, which can also be free. So here's our guild reports. Here's where our reports go from our potential writing in Enid called Murata. These are where event ads go. This has been the event ad I've been using every month is stay home. But normally we would have different event ads here that have been sent to us. And then I have the credits at the end that we're required to give. So my suggestion would be if you want to do this, this is a great website. I would at least check it out. Play around with it, drag and drop things. You can make something that looks very different from this. They have all kinds of templates, all kinds of options. And then I'll show you after this how to get free images of your own if you want to make them yourself, if there's something that you can't find that's royalty free. So within this, there are some images that I tend to use. So like every month I have a little image here above my article, and I try to make it something kind of medievally related. My go-to place is a website called Pexels, PEXELS.com. I have it on that Chronicler's toolbox list. It is a place for royalty-free images. And so I'll usually go here and I'll Google like just my brain. So I'll just Google medieval and then a bunch of these images will come up.
I think Zubaida might have a question. She has her hand up.
Sorry, I was not paying attention to that.
No, you're fine.
What's your question, Zubaida?
It's not a question so much as it is a statement. I've got 15 years worth of event photos on my personal page on Facebook, and there's a ton of moonshadow pictures, and I have a complete release of work on file with the chronicler's office.
Oh, so awesome.
You are welcome to pillage those photos and use them as you wish.
Okay, cool. That's something that I will add into the chronicler's toolbox too, that those are located there. Because that would be fantastic. One of the things I didn't want to do, mostly because I'm kind of lazy, is that I did not want to have to go search down an image, get a form filled out. I did not want to have to deal with that. And so my goal was always to just find something I could use that was royalty free. Knowing that there are moonshadow images out there, that'll be nice. I'll look through them and then I'll put that in the chronicler's toolbox. Thank you. But anyways, for other people, if you don't have group images that you can use, or if you just want something basic, there's a place called Pexels. There's a place, going back to this list, there's a place called Unsplash. Those are great if you want custom fonts. There are free fonts on Google. There's Google Fonts. There's also a website called dafont.com that I've used for years. Those are great places to get fonts. If you want a free photo editing software, there's a low-end photo software called Photoscape. It's really easy to use. So I leave that linked in here too. And then I'll take you over, I think, to Canva. Was there any questions about Sendinblue? Is there anything else that you'd like to see before I moved on to Canva?
I just have a quick question. Do you have to like sign up for a, I don't know, a membership or anything for it? I mean, I know you said it was free, but you have to create an account, I guess.
Oh, yes. So with most of these places, you have to create an account. And what I recommend that you do is always use the email address you're assigned for your chronicler position, so that then the accounts are tied to the chronicler email and not your own personal email. So yeah, with Sendinblue, you do have to sign up. You can sign up with your chronicler email address. I didn't even put my own name in there. For the name of the person who owned the account, I put Chronicler of Moonshadow. So cool. You can keep your information off of it. But yeah, you do have to sign up for an account. Was there any other questions before I moved on to Canva?
It looks like Zubaida might have one.
I have all the questions.
Okay.
So I saw that you had the recipients categorized. Did you have to hand load in the email addresses? Is this like sent as an attachment so it would get bounced off of all of the Onstiora lists?
No, so this is not sent as an attachment. It's sent as HTML inside an email. And then it cuts it off, because this is pretty long. So it cuts it off about halfway through, or maybe a little longer. And there is a link at the bottom to see it in your web browser if you want to see the whole thing.
Okay, cool.
So it's saved. It's saved in, like, it has like a little web address. And so like whenever I link, because after I send it out to everybody's email address, then I usually post it on Moonshadow's Facebook page. And what I do is there's an option where you can get the link to share on social media. Let me see if I can go back to that and show you.
Also, would you be willing to add a task to your list of creating a PDF of it and sending it to the historian? Because I don't think I'm on your distribution list.
I do send it to the historian. I think the historian gets, hold on.
Okay, I could be wrong.
Ooh. I'm trying to figure out where I am. Okay, save and quit. Let me go out to the main thing. So what I've done is that when all the people that I have to send my my newsletter to every month, the Northern Regional Chronicler, the Kingdom Chronicler, the historian, the archivist, the crown, the coronet, all those things. So if you don't require a PDF version of this, Then I send the HTML version. I have it on my, go to my contacts. And then if you require a PDF, so like the Northern Chronicler, the Kingdom Chronicler, and I think the Archivist all require PDF versions. I then download a PDF version and I email it to them directly. So let's not broadcast everybody's email addresses. Where do I find what group they're in? Lists. Kingdom officers. Yeah, so I have historian, seneschal, the crown, and the coronet all get HTML emails. Is this the historian you're talking about?
Yes, my bad. So maybe it's getting automatically. There might be a rule set up that it's going to. I don't know. I will have to look for it.
Okay. If you wind up needing like PDF versions instead of this HTML version, I can add you back into my email list for the PDF version.
PDF is preferable for my office. Yes, please.
Okay. Was there someone who's the historian before you? Because I asked, and I'm pretty sure the historian
yes,
got back to me.
There was a historian before me, and like
okay.
a year and a half ago, it was somebody else. So probably when you first started this 3 years ago, it was a totally different person, and they may have preferred the HTML.
Okay, no, it was after I started this, so it was at the start of the pandemic. Have you been the historian the entire pandemic?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. I'll move you from the HTML version to the PDF version, and add you back into that. So that way you have PDFs. Yeah, that's fine. Anyways, I got way off track. Go back to where I was. Okay, so I have different, if you saw that was another thing. Here's another lesson, is that I have my contacts set up into lists, and this is something you can do within Sendinblue. So I have my Kingdom officers, other chroniclers from Onsiora, our populace, our officers, and then a test list. So like for March, I didn't get, but I think 1 or 2 reports, and then I was feeling poorly. It wound up not going out to our populace, which is fine. It didn't have anything on it. But I still needed to create one to send to our chronicler. And so I just did a basic one, threw some stuff on there, sent it to my test list, which is just me, and then was able to get the PDF to the chroniclers. And I'll show you the PDF as well while we're on this. So once you've sent out a campaign, so it has to be sent, it has to be complete. So like this one is complete. I can go into this. I'm in my campaigns under email. This is all my emails. And then there's this little tab that says more. And see, here's a share on social media. It'll give you a link to share on social media, but then I do the download PDF. And you click on that, a PDF will pop up of the newsletter, and you can save it for people that you need to send your PDFs to. Did I cover everything before I go to Canva? Okay. So part of the newsletter, and also part of the class that I taught at Winter Kingdom, was about how to create flyers and things like that, but also images for your newsletter in a website called Canva. This is Canva. Let me go home. Yeah, this is canva.com. So canva.com is not normally free. You have to pay a monthly subscription for it. But they have a program where if you complete an application, you contact them, you complete an application proving that you're a part of a charity, a 501(c)(3) charity, which I was able to find the paperwork for Onsiora just on a Google search. And I sent it in to them. And so then they approved me for a pro account for free. So it's the chronicler email address that's signed up. It's totally free, but I get access to all the pro materials. So I use this to create any event flyers that I've ever created. I use this for little images within the newsletter. I also use it at work. I've used it for charities that I've helped with before. It's a really handy website. So it's canva.com. And then this was just an example. This is the flyer that I created for Triumph Eternia, which I autocratted. Every part of this is movable, editable. So you've got the text here at the top, all the clouds, all the lightning bolts, all of this. I didn't import it. It's part of Canva. All the clip art is free. And then not only that, but you can actually find templates to base it off of, which I base this off of something. It might have been that. There's a bunch of templates at the top. You can search, or you can just look through. Go back. You can just look through the templates. You can scroll until you find something that you think looks cool and you want to use, or you can create it entirely from scratch. They have lots of options for what you're making. If you're making a poster, a flyer, a logo, an invitation, a presentation, you can click on that and it gives you the sizing. It gives you the sizing that you need. Though if you can't find anything, there's also an option for, let me go back. You can resize it. It gives you different options, but then you can also just type in a size that you want to size and it'll resize the image for you. There's lots of like photo clip art, but then also different elements and things. They've now added stuff, I mean, because for things that are completely digital, that are animated, stuff like that. I mean, the library in this place is endless. There's lots of different things you can find. I mean, there's no limitation to the amount of I call it Frankensteining, but, or just straight up creating if you're one of those people that create something from scratch. I am not. I need a template. I need a base. I need a foundation of what I'm creating. And then I can go in and edit and tweak it to my heart's content, but just popping something out of my brain from scratch, that never happens with me. And so like, let me go back to the, do I have the newsletter? But so those little images for our guilds were just clip arts from Canva. Ooh, did I stop sharing my screen? I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, yeah, here we are.
There you go. It's back.
I'm just trying to navigate at the top, but that's also where the screen sharing stuff is being navigated. Okay, go back to the template. It's still loading. But anyways, all I did was I gave myself a basic background. I found a piece of clip art that I wanted. And then as I saved it, there was an option for, oh, I keep doing it. I apologize. There is an option for saving with a transparent background. I have done it again. I am so sorry. I almost left the chat too, so that would have been terrible. Okay, all these little images were things I got from Canva. Stop, please. I'm gonna have to drag this down a little bit. Okay. Let's just go poster. Okay, so I was just on a flat image like this. I found like a book or whatever that I really liked. Because all I did was search for book under elements and it took me here. And so let's just pick one. And the nice thing about this, I can make it as big or small as I want to. I can actually go in and change like the colors that I want. And whenever I have it like I like it, I go to download and then maybe I want it as a PNG and I want it with a transparent background. And then I just hit download and that's literally it. It's extremely simple and I think very user-friendly, and it makes the things that you do look a lot sharper and well put together. My goal in all of this, whenever I started this, whenever I created our digital newsletter and things like that, was that I wanted something that looked really impressive and professional. That's why I did it in Adobe InDesign. It was very fancy. I printed it on a large printer so that you could actually fold it like a magazine. That was a bit much though. So this is fancy and professional, but on a budget of $0, and something that anybody with a computer can use. Our chroniclers before this were doing stuff in like Microsoft Publisher. It was very like 90s clip art looking. And I just wanted something that Moonshadow could be proud of that we could show to other people that would actually get people interested in what we were writing, because there wasn't much engagement whenever it came to the newsletter. And so that was my ultimate goal. And it wound up being that I implemented this, and we did our first newsletter a month before the pandemic started. And so it wound up being something that we were able to use the entire pandemic, to keep track of each other, to keep engaged. And so it wound up being extremely helpful. So that's all the information that I have that I can think of. If you have any questions, if there's something else you want to see, I mean, let me know.
Does anybody have any more questions?
Nope, you covered everything pretty well.
Okay. I feel like I was all over the place, and I apologize. I still get very nervous doing something like this. The only second time I've ever taught a class. But it's something that I actually know about. It's something that we've experienced in our province. And so I just want to make sure that whatever information I have, that I've shared it with everybody else.
Yeah, no, I think you did a great job, and it's really cool. It's exciting. I'm actually getting ready to start doing a newsletter for not the SCA, but another group that I'm a part of. And I think I'm going to recommend we use this format rather than the templates that they have set up. So I'll see what
I'm trying to implement the same thing. I'm in the philosophy department at OSU, and we do a spring newsletter. So we do one newsletter every year, and it's just in little templates and little Word documents and stuff. And especially now that we know that eventually we're going to need to be able to go virtual at the drop of a hat, I'm going to try to recommend that we do something this way. It's really easy, and you can make it look exactly like you want. You can make it stack however you want it to stack. And it's a lot of drag and drop instead of having to like figure out a bunch of little boxes and make sure that they're even with each other. That was my hardest struggle of anything, which is boxes side by side, trying to make sure that they were in line with each other. And so this was a heck of a lot easier. And so, like, if any of you ever have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'm Sarah Schlegel on Facebook. I would be glad to help out or answer any questions. I mean, that goes for anybody in any group that's wanting to do a digital newsletter. And on Sciora, I would be so happy to help anybody set that up, because it's been a lifesaver for me. And then the biggest issue is, I keep thinking about a legacy. I keep thinking about, I want to leave this better than I found it, and I want to make it easier for the next person coming along, instead of, just being thrown into a position and being like, oh no, what do I do? I wanted to have something that anybody could just step into and immediately do, and not have to worry about, am I doing this right? Does this look right? Is this embarrassing? So I was in goal.
I think you've definitely done that with all the stuff that you've, provided as far as the, chronicler handbook, or not handbook, but
the toolbox. Yeah.
Toolbox. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. So
whenever I first started, I had documents kind of all over the place in our Google Drive, because we save all of our newsletters there and everything. And it was really when I got to thinking about eventually somebody else is going to have to be in this position that I made, Charles.
I know, it's like, oh, we're done.
Yeah. But then I started organizing. So I have little folders and everything. And then I have my chronicler toolbox at the bottom, so that somebody can just step in. So
that's very cool.
Okay. Hi, Charles. We're at the end, actually, of the class.
Sorry, I had to work late, and then I got home and I had the notice, and I was like, oh no.
We did record it, so I will get the video posted.
Oh, great. Okay, well, I'll be sure to watch it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you can actually see me accidentally cancel out of the screen share like 5 times. So.
I think it was only 3, but still, yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. So, all right. Well, then I'm gonna call it a night. Then Libby's in the middle of making chili for Gold Force chili.
Ooh,
we have Asaph's recipe because we were in charge of making chili at Penzic like 10 years ago. So
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's gonna have beans in it, and it's gonna make all of the Texans in our kingdom super unhappy, and it's gonna be great. I look forward.
Too
If it
funny.
doesn't have, if it's chili and it doesn't have beans in it, it's just sloppy Joe paste, and I'll stick to that.
I
So.
can't do beans, so Dan makes me chili without beans because beans make me very ill. But
Right.
yeah,
No, and for people with dietary restrictions, it totally makes sense. And
Right.
that's the way it is. But
I just had a grandma from Texas, and she's the one that taught me how to make chili. So my chili doesn't have any beans.
oh man. Well,
There you go.
I'm sorry you were raised that way.
Too funny.
Yeah. So, anyways, well, Charles, you can watch the thing, and of course, you're from Moonshadow, so you'll have access to all my tools if you ever decide to take up this position. So,
Well,
okay.
And I'm currently ANS minister, but Libby said she would be willing to sign up for it, and so
Cool.
since she's already local, so the social media deputy, yeah. So that
Okay.
you don't have to. That doesn't mean that other people can't apply or anything. It just means that you don't have to worry about not having anybody who's willing to do it.
Yeah, and I was actually, I mean, this isn't part of this, but I was actually talking to Philip about possibly taking over as exchequer whenever I'm done with this. He's
Yeah.
not been able to do it because he's got school. So he's at work all day, school all night. And so we might wind up doing that. I was going to talk to Mike about it. And I guess he is here.
Yeah. Well,
But-
if you do decide to do that, I'll be happy to help any way I can.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. But yeah, so this is it. So
Okay,
I appreciate you giving me a second chance to get this done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
no,
if
I
anybody-
appreciate you teaching.
Oh, definitely. And like, I said, if anybody ever has any questions, you can direct them my way. I'd be glad to answer or help out in any way.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well, everybody have a good rest of your night.
You too.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.